And it's fascinating in different cultures in the world. For example, in Japan, they look at on menopause as being like a renewal, like they call it like a new season, a new beginning, and it's thought of as being very positive.
That's nice. Yeah.
And older women are looked up to. They're wiser. They've
Right.
been through so much in their lives. And the fascinating thing is that women don't experience menopausal symptoms like we do in the Western world, when menopause is looked upon as as more of a positive phase in a woman's life. So mindset and emotional well-being is a big piece.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor is a wellness podcast featuring life energy research, health and wellness transformation, self-improvement and empowerment, philosophy, spirituality, and now guest interviews as well. We look forward to your comments on our YouTube channel at Holistic Monitor, and you can also listen on the go with us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. And with that, let's get today's show started. Yeah, welcome to today's show. We are delighted to have Alison Bladh, a highly experienced and well-regarded nutritional and beauty therapist, join us today. Alison is based in the beautiful wilderness of Sweden and has been dedicated to promoting health and wellness for over 3 decades. She has a particular focus on helping menopausal women utilizing dietary and lifestyle modifications to alleviate symptoms and restore their health and self-assurance. Alison is truly passionate about her work, and we are thrilled to have her with us today. Please welcome Alison Bladh. So Alison Bladh, you're a registered nutritional therapist and beauty therapist based in Sweden. You have 30 years of experience in health and wellness, and you specialize in menopausal women's health, and you run your own online clinic. Does that all sound correct?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So you do a lot of work with pre-menopause, menopause, and post-menopause?
Yeah, but I specialize, in perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal women with nutritional therapy, lifestyle, and mindset. So I am very niched into that specific age group of women.
Okay. And that's 30 years you've been doing that? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
Last years I've been working with hormonal health, really, for
Hormonal
women.
health.
But I mean, the hormones, when it's menopause, that there's so many different hormone fluctuations and issues that women have. So yeah, I've been doing it for many years.
Yeah. And menopause comes about not in really a predetermined time frame. It's a wide range of time, right?
Yeah, I mean, perimenopause, which is the first stage of the menopause transition, on average starts at the age of 45. Okay. However, it's very individual. Some women have it earlier or later, but if you go into menopause before the age of 40, it's actually called early onset. So, you shouldn't be going into menopause that young. That isn't normal.
Okay. And then how long will that stage last, or does that vary as well? Just depends on each person's biology.
Yeah, so perimenopause, on average, again, it's hard to say, lasts for roughly around 6 years, because menopause, which is the second stage, starts at the age of 51 on average. And then all the time after that is what we call postmenopause, which, could be another 30 years of a woman's life.
Right. Okay. So post-menopause, that doesn't end. That's just the stage after.
Yeah, exactly. That's the stage. That's basically when you're not producing estrogen or progesterone anymore. You're not ovulating. You can't have children. So it's the rest of a woman's life, 30
Right.
plus years. I mean, we're living much longer now, so it's a big part of a woman's life.
Yeah. And that so menopause could be considered like the hurricane of the hormonal fluctuations.
Yeah, especially perimenopause, which is the
Mm.
first stage, because that really is the stage where the hormones really start kind of becoming all imbalanced. You're still ovulating, you're still having periods, you're still fertile, but it's when things start to really become unbalanced. You know, your estrogen can be very high, your progesterone can be low, and that can trigger off all the menopausal symptoms. You know, like
Right.
your hot flashes, weight gain, etc. There's a list of over 40 different
Mm.
symptoms. But
Okay.
the perimenopause is really the first transition where things start to get a bit chaotic. And when you come into menopause, that basically means that you haven't had a menstruation for a year. Um,
Okay.
your ovaries are no longer producing estrogen. And then all the time after that, you're in postmenopause. So perimenopause tends to be the stage where things can really get, you know, a bit chaotic.
Okay. Understood. And you have specific programs that you use to help with that
Yeah.
with each stage, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I have my signature program, which is the menopause 5-step breakthrough pathway, which really is a proven method from my years of experience, knowing and seeing what works with women. And
Mm.
it's tailored individually to their specific needs, whether they're in perimenopause or menopause, etc. But this is a 12-week program that works on nutrition, uh, specifically gut health,
Mm.
lifestyle, and mindset, and testing and supplementation if need be.
Right. Right. And gut health is a major throughout life. That's a really big starting place.
Mm.
Getting the gut kind of going in the right direction, the biome in the
Yeah,
gut. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
really, really a big thing. Yeah.
Specific foods, nutrients. There's things that you utilize within your practice to help cater to a person's needs as far as that goes. As far as the
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the menopause transition, there's so many different things that happen in the body. I mean, estrogen is crucial for
yeah,
so many different systems. It is not just a sex hormone. You know,
right,
it's needed for bone health, heart health, brain health, you know, gut health. And when the levels start to decline, that is when women, the risk for women, for example, of osteoporosis, there's
mm,
a lot of new studies coming out on dementia now, and the link between estrogen and dementia, the lack
oh,
of estrogen. So it's crucial hormone. It's really a master hormone, and it's
yeah,
crucial for metabolism. Um, so it really starts to affect. And when you look at nutrition, you know, you really want to look at um, boosting all these different systems, really, and
mm,
working very much on gut health, on keeping the bones strong, on heart health, blood sugar regulation, because a lot of menopausal women, because of the decline in estrogen, we can find that we become less something called insulin resistance,
mm-hmm,
whereas your body can't um, handle, or it doesn't have the same, you know, when you eat sugary refined processed carbohydrates, this shoots your blood sugar up,
right,
and your body, it secretes insulin, which is the hormone that takes care of this. But when you come into menopause, you know, estrogen is needed for so many metabolic processes, and you can find that you can't deal with the high blood sugar levels like you could when you were younger. So
mm-hmm,
you really have to, the first thing that I work on with my clients is blood sugar management, because if you can get that, manage that, and have good blood sugar levels, it really makes you feel so much better, because it
yeah,
triggers off all different symptoms if you're constantly, you know, eating
spiking,
refined, highly processed foods.
right, right. So getting the sugar under control or the management of food intake. would be a big,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Of course.
Processed foods,
Processed
really.
foods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Junk food.
I mean, we live in a very toxic food environment.
Yeah.
And there's food everywhere, isn't there? I mean, everywhere
Yeah.
you go, you can find food, and unfortunately, the refined, highly processed foods, really don't actually have that much nutrition, and they contain inflammatory oils and fats, lots of sugar.
Right. Plastic. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's you see in the health of society, really, how what is happening. There's an obesity epidemic in the whole world, and I mean, I could talk for hours about this, but we really want to be eating whole foods, proper food that you can see what it is that you're eating, not with a huge big list of ingredients on, because it causes inflammation and an array of different things happen in the body when you eat these sort of foods.
Right. And it's tough if you're in a city. You're forced into going to markets and whatever's nearby and whatever they have in stock. That's kind of what you have to get. I guess now there's a lot of meal delivery programs like Thrive and things like that, where you can order organic food in, so you're not kind of stuck to whatever's in the urban space that you're in. But people that live further out have more space, can have a garden, that sort of thing, have a little bit more control over some of their food, like the knowledge of where their food is coming from. If they're making it, they're growing it themselves, they can be assured a little bit more as to what's in the food, because it's single source, or shopping at a market that has organic food, or something like that would definitely be a positive thing to do. It's the boxed and the preserved food that's really the culprit. The stuff that will last for a year and still be edible. That's something.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we weren't, as human beings, we weren't meant to eat those sorts of foods. We we're meant to eat whole foods. When you look at a food and you know what it is, a piece of broccoli, chicken, or whatever, that is what our bodies thrive from, and are full of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fiber, all the macro and micronutrients that our bodies need.
Right, which goes right to the gut. What's that?
Yeah, good for the gut, exactly. Yeah. Feeding the gut bacteria is very important, and very important for menopausal women to keep the hormone balance.
Yeah. And then there's also with the hormones, that affects mental, like the brain chemistry as well. Do you think it's tied as well to kind of getting put into a place where you're not doing much, like a lack of exercise, or is that part of the food-oriented approach? Would you change food and exercise along with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nutrition is a big part of it, but you've got to look at all the different pieces. And lifestyle is absolutely something that I work with my clients. Stress management, that's stress a huge thing, is because stress, a lot of women, when they come into perimenopause, they can feel quite overwhelmed. They've maybe got a lot going on in their lives, and stress is just so detrimental for our health. And when you're in perimenopause, because of all the hormonal chaos really going on, you can find that you get very anxious, you get very moody and angry, and stress just makes everything worse.
Right.
So finding ways to manage that in a realistic way, whether it's breathing, just doing deep breathing exercises, just going out for a walk. I mean, it's not realistic. A lot of clients I work with are very overwhelmed, so you can't expect a woman to suddenly be able to do like an hour's yoga every day or something, start meditating. It's just not realistic. So finding things. I'm a big fan of deep breathing. Just taking a few deep breaths can really reset your nervous system. So stress management, getting your sleep. Again, that is an area in menopause that can really be affected due to the decline in estrogen and progesterone. So finding ways that you can really help your sleep. So, because if you're not sleeping, it just makes you feel terrible. And again, it triggers off all the symptoms, weight gain, etc. Sleep is so crucial for our health.
Yeah, it really is. I don't get a lot of sleep, and I notice the effect. I know that like if I get a cut on my finger, even that cut will take longer to heal if I'm getting no time to recuperate that restful sleep. Whereas if I get the sleep, I know beyond the cut that my whole body is going to be doing a lot better with more time to mitigate the damage and repair and have its time, the cellular process to do the regeneration. Does the hormone imbalance that's caused by the perimenopause, would it be a cause to lack of sleep, or does it cause the stress, and then that causes the lack of sleep, or an anxiety or something like that?
It's really, there's many different factors that come into play, but the decline in hormones and estrogen absolutely have an effect on sleep. It's not the only reason. That there's many different areas that need to be looked at, but estrogen is needed in the synthesis of melatonin. And melatonin is our sleep hormone, which makes us feel sleepy in the evenings, so you can go to sleep. So what can happen there is, because your body won't be producing as much melatonin, then you can have problems sleeping, or you wake up early in the early hours of the morning. Also, blood sugar can really affect sleep. And
Right,
I think
okay.
the society that we live in now is we're constantly being stimulated, aren't we? Even in the evening, we're playing with our phones, we're watching television, and that is having a really detrimental effect on our sleep, because we're not switching off.
Right. Artificial light.
Yeah.
Beaming in, and melatonin's released at night, right, naturally in the brain. And is it serotonin that's released for the sun or sunlight?
Yeah, melatonin is, as you say, the sleep hormone, and that when it becomes dark in the evenings, your body, you've got your circadian rhythm. Your body understands when it's dark, you should be preparing to go to sleep.
Right, naturally.
Yeah, naturally. But because we've got all these stimulus and lights and phones and everything, we don't produce that melatonin in the same way. So we become, instead of becoming sleepy, we become stimulated.
Yeah. And our brain is constantly firing.
Yeah, and then in the mornings we have a hormone called cortisol, which is it's called it. Well, many people know it as a stress hormone, but this really is the hormone that gets you out of bed in the morning.
Right.
It gives you the energy to wake up and get out of bed, and that should decrease throughout the day, because you don't want high levels of cortisol in the evening.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll be feeling, really hyper and it's your body is a fantastic machine, and it has all these hormones, and if it's in homeostasis and in balance and everything's working, then that's great. But because we inflict so many things on our bodies, they don't work like they should do, really.
Yeah, exactly. Lack of sleep, different foods, improper or no exercise, sedentary lifestyle. When you have a client come in, I guess you work online mostly. You don't have a physical clinic.
Exactly. I work predominantly. I absolutely will meet clients, but after the pandemic, it just feels that everybody and clients are more than happy to meet. They actually suit them and their lifestyle better. So predominantly, I'd work online, but like I said, I do meet clients as well. But it's probably about 98% of my work now is online.
Okay. Yeah, it's telehealth, basically, the age of telehealth at this point. Yeah. And when you have a client come to you, you'll do an assessment, like a intake on where they're at and how they're feeling. Do you recommend them to go get tests and that sort of thing so you can get numbers? Or how do you assess a client that first comes to you?
What I do is I work with the functional medicine model, which is a way of where you really look at the whole person. So you look at the whole body, because the whole body and all the systems work together. We're not just looking at one symptom, we're looking at the whole problem, the whole reason that you've come to see me, for whatever reason. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, so you really get to the root causes of what is going on. So yes, I do testing and recommend supplementation if necessary. It is very individual depending on the client. Functional testing, stool testing for mineral vitamin deficiencies. Maybe there's something called the Dutch test, which is a hormone where you can see all the hormone profiles. So yeah, absolutely, if necessary. But it's, like I say, it depends on the client. You can sometimes get such a fantastic result just by changing the nutrition.
Just by the food.
Yeah.
Food intake. Yeah. And exercise definitely has to be a big portion of the recommendation. That's always something that comes up is not even lack of exercise. It's doing one thing over and over again, whatever that it might be. In work, it's a lot of people sit in an office and they sit in a specific posture, and they're going to get locked into that. Even if they get up every now and again, they're still pulling 6 hours a day doing one specific posture. A lot of exercise is built around, working with a full spectrum of the body, but when a person's doing 6 hours a day in one motion or in one posture, a lot of what they probably should be doing is opposite posturing, where a lot of people that sit at a desk, what would serve them well in their back would just be a stretch on a yoga ball, face up, just to do the opposite movement that they've been doing all day with their shoulders and their arms, but exercise paramount to getting all those other parts of the body moving, muscles firing, and of course food is huge to support the body to be able to do those things. Yeah,
we need to move, don't we? We've become very sedentary, and when we're talking about menopausal women, it's crucial that we exercise, and it doesn't have to be going to the gym for 2 hours a day, because one factor that comes into play as we age as women, the menopause has an effect, but it's also the aging process, is that we lose muscle mass, and we lose bone. Our bones can become more porous. So strength training, lifting things is really important for women. It's important all through your life, but it really is extremely important because we want to keep our muscles. So strength training, and also eating protein, which we don't tend to eat enough of as women, because eating protein is the building blocks of the body, and strength training are really very crucial things for long-term health.
Yeah, and all life, but definitely when the body is going under a lot of different changes like that, definitely important to tell the brain what you value, what you feel is important. And lifting, pressure, there's that whole dynamic of use it or lose it, that whole saying that goes along with a lot of a lot of the sedentary lifestyle is also telling the body that that's how you want to be, and telling the brain that, and the body and the brain will go along with it and say, yeah, okay, if we're going to be sitting at a desk hunched over, we'll be the best hunched over person sitting at a desk that the body can make. So it's, using it that way, that's, not a good thing, but then giving it that pressure and telling the body that, no, I want to use my muscles to lift things and to be strong and dynamic. That seems to be always an important thing, but definitely when there's a lot of changes going on, for sure.
Yeah, muscles are so, they're so important for our metabolic health.
Yeah.
They need energy. If you've got muscles, a good amount of muscle on your body, you will use more energy.
Right.
As far as like weight management and all those metabolic processes, we need muscles. They're really, really important to our overall health.
Yeah, it's a heavy tissue too, muscle. So you may gain muscle, lose weight lose fat, adipose tissue, but gain muscle and not lose weight because of the muscle build. If you're building, if you're bulking up or something like that. But very important to have the muscles vibrant and strong and supporting the different bones. And do you find, or do you ever have men come in with issues, what they would consider midlife issues, as far as their changes?
No, actually, no, I don't. Cause I mean, I would absolutely work with men, but I think I am very niched into working with menopausal, perimenopausal, postmenopausal women. So I have had male clients in the past, but mainly for other
issues,
nutritional therapy, digestive, IBS, etc. But I've never actually had a man come to me with hormonal issues.
Okay. Well, I've heard a lot that the midlife crisis is actually changes within the chemistry, male and female, but males also have this thing that comes about where they're just not acting like they normally were, and everything's a little different, and they feel scrambled, and their life is going in a different direction than they thought, and all these different ideas. They also have osteoporosis come along at the same time. There's a lot of different things that seem to be matched, but maybe on the male side it's not there, or it's not acknowledged as much as far as the changes go. Guys don't like to talk about that,
Yeah, and I think it's it's the aging process as well, isn't it? That when we get to a certain age, never mind menopause or the hormones, our bodies are aging, and you have to, from a male point of view, you have to look after your bones. You lose muscle mass as well. You have to look after muscle. So there's a lot of similarities there. However, menopause is something
very
completely
specific,
different. All the symptoms. I think that there's actually in Europe, where I live, there's a bit of a menopause revolution going on at the moment, because women are just sick to death of not being heard, and you can feel terrible when you go through this transition. And I've seen in the news that they've produced these, they call them Meno vests. They're like a heated vest, because women want men to understand what it's like having a hot flash.
Oh, okay.
Some men, I think there was some firemen that said, "Oh, we'll wear them for a day." So they were wearing it, and it would mimic hot flashes throughout the day. And afterwards, they were just like, "That was horrible." I just total respect for women, because they would never, it was awful.
Yeah, when you say I'm having a hot flash, the thought might just go right over, like, oh, okay. But the reality is, having a hot flash. It's like a burning sensation, being in the desert all of a sudden. Yeah, that's wild.
And I think a lot of clients that I work with, that it can be a difficult time for their partner as well, because if it totally affects that person, that their partner, for example, with menopause, you may be having problems sleeping. You can have night sweats, so you're up, you're moving around in the bed, so that is going to affect your partner's sleep. You can also become very anxious and irritable. You have less tolerance, and that obviously can affect your relationship. So that there's many things that affect men because of their partners. So I think that what I say to my clients is, just sit down and talk to your partner about it. So that, because I think men are really, they really want to help, and they really want to understand, but they don't necessarily really get it.
They don't get it. Right. They hear the terms, but that's about as far as it goes. Yeah, the vest is a great idea. I think it's let's share the burden here of this heat. Know what I'm feeling, and definitely very important to get the eye into what somebody's going through. But because the words and the terms only mean so much. But it's like being with pregnancy, the same thing, carrying around a bowling ball, in your midsection all day, just to get an idea.
No, it's good to express how you feel, really, isn't it? And then I think,
Yeah.
for example, with menopause, if you do feel a bit irritable or moody, if you say to your partner, it's not directed at you. It's just this phase I'm going through, and I'm really want you to realize that don't take it personally.
Right.
I think it's easier to maybe understand.
Yeah.
Or accept.
Yeah, definitely. Now, is that part of what you do with your clients? Is also kind of counsel methods to live in harmony with those around them as well, so that there's like creating like a knowledge base for them to access and say, okay, this is something that's going on inside of me right now, and it's not personal to you. I'm melting right now.
Yeah,
something like that.
I do absolutely, because that some women are very distressed about how it's affecting their relationship.
Right.
So the best is talking, isn't it? The best thing to do is to talk, and there's a solution for everything. It's just getting help and talking about it.
Right.
So absolutely, and areas of that they might be having. I mean, I'm not an expert in, I'm not a marriage guidance counselor.
Right.
I look at it from, the menopause point of view and how it affects you, and what you can do to maybe talk to that person so they understand it more. So that is an area that absolutely. And I think when it comes to, mindset of how you embrace this time in your life, and I'm not saying it's easy, because it isn't. But there's studies to prove that if you look at something in a positive or a more positive light, you won't experience it in the same way.
Right.
Having a positive attitude helps you manage stress. And if you manage your stress, you won't have as many menopausal symptoms. So it's kind of a knock-on effect. And I think menopause has always had this like aura of negativity attached to it. Women should not talk about it. It should just be brushed under the carpet and just get on with it. Whereas
that creates all the other problems.
Yeah.
Not acknowledging what's going on, and society not having a reference to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What people are going through.
Yeah. It's fascinating in different cultures in the world. For example, in Japan, they look on menopause as being like a renewal, like they call it like a new season, a new beginning, and it's thought of as being very positive.
That's nice. Yeah.
And older women are looked up to. They're wiser. They've been through so much in their lives. And the fascinating thing is that women don't experience menopausal symptoms like we do in the Western world, when menopause is looked upon as more of a positive phase in a woman's life. So mindset and emotional well-being is a big piece.
Right, absolutely. So we're electromagnetic beings, and what we put out and is what we get and what we attract. If we want to live in harmony with ourselves, and this is a biological process, we need to have that mindset kind of centered on a positive outcome, a positive approach. That totally makes sense. Yeah. It's really framing, how you frame the situation societally, and I guess it goes from the family all the way out into society as to how menopause is handled. It's definitely not, the knowledge isn't there on what it is or what's going on, and a response, like you have an actual method to help people transform the situation from being a negative into a positive through a learned process of nutrition, exercise. Have you had any clients or cases that were really difficult for you to help?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of women, by the time they come to me, they normally are very overwhelmed. They've probably been to their doctor. They've tried various different things, and they're just not feeling any better. So, yeah, there's always a lot of things to work on with the clients that I have. So I've worked with clients for quite, months, years
Months. Okay.
sometimes.
And that was going to be my next question. What time
Yeah.
frame? Yeah.
Because it's a lifestyle change that when you're looking at nutrition and you're looking at like your habits
Right.
and your mindset, it's something that you've developed this way of living over many years. You can't just correct it in a couple of weeks.
Right.
I think that the most important thing is having the support there, which I'm very much into giving support to my clients. So we talk every week and just really check in and see how it's going. How have you been doing on that eating plan? Have you managed to change this habit? How are you feeling? And that is a big part, because it's good to just be able to check in and make sure that everything's going to, they're feeling good and they're happy with it. Because I'm very much a believer in having realistic goals, because if you set too many goals,
it's a mountain.
People won't do them.
Right. Too much.
Yeah, it's too much, and it's got to fit into their life, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be easy to do and enjoyable. I mean, when it comes to food, there's a lot of emotion attached to food.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you can do is say to someone, "Oh, you can't eat that. You can't eat that." Take all these foods away.
Right.
The
Comfort
food
foods.
would be enjoyable.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's food again. Goes back to food. The chemicals or the vitamins and minerals that we get off of the food really do set us in motion every day. How our day's going to be, depending on what we eat and that outcome. So weight management is a big portion of what you do as well with clients.
Yes, weight management can be. We can find when we come into perimenopause that we change shape. So we have like fat redistribution, and we go from more of a pear shape to an apple. So you tend to hold a lot of your weight around the abdomen, around the middle area. And there's many reasons. We don't fully understand it yet, but testosterone dominance can play a factor in this. And also because of the lack of estrogen and all the metabolic changes that are happening in the body, we can find that we just collect fat around the abdomen area. And this is a sign also of insulin resistance,
yeah.
High blood sugar. That is very typical symptom, that you collect fat around the middle area. And there's so many different factors that come into play when we look at weight gain in menopause. It can be thyroid issues. Your thyroid is like the motor of your body, the gland, and you need the hormones, and you need your thyroid gland to be functioning correctly, so your metabolism is working. So that a lot of the symptoms of what we call hypothyroidism are very similar to menopausal symptoms. And the women tend to, that you can see the rates of hypothyroidism increasing as women come into menopause. So that is certainly an area to look at if you feel that you're just gaining weight for really no apparent reason.
Right. About that. Yeah. And
it is a huge thing, and also as well the hormone imbalances. But as we get older, we can't you can't behave the same as you did when you were younger. We don't
same foods.
You can't. Your metabolism isn't the same. So you really have to think of portion control.
Right. Portion control. That's huge. Yeah.
You can't eat, unfortunately. I mean, we all love food, but you can't eat as much as you did when you were younger.
Right.
And then we go back to like muscle, loss of muscle. Muscle is a real energy burner. And if you haven't got as much muscle as you had when you were younger, you won't actually consume as much, you won't burn as much energy.
Yeah.
So you'll have a lot of extra energy in the system, which will be stored as fat. I mean, when we eat a high processed diet full of sugar and damaged fats, any energy that our body, first it will store in the muscles, but any added energy, your body's a fantastic machine. It doesn't, our bodies are still really functioning on the fact that we want to conserve energy because we don't know when we're going to eat again.
Right.
So any energy that is left in the blood or glucose in the blood will be stored as fat. If your muscles are full and you haven't got anywhere else to store this energy, it will then be stored as fat, and that will be stored around the abdomen area.
Abdomen, yeah. Normally, right? That's
yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. And with your schedule, do you have a very full schedule? Are you seeing a lot of clients?
Yes, I am. Fantastic. I really love what I do, and I really love being able to help women. So I do. Yes, I'm very busy, and I also do lecturing at university as well. So I see clients, but I do work as a lecturer as well in nutritional therapy. So yes, I'm busy, but I love it. I'm very passionate about what I do. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And as far as for anybody interested that's listening or watching, where could they find you or reach out to you to get more information?
The best place to find me probably is on my website, which is alisonbladh.com. So that's BLADH. I'm on all social media, and if you just search for Alison Bladh, you'll find me on virtually most normal Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on those though, and there's lots of information there. Also on my website, there's a resources page where there's lots of great free downloads, ebooks on specific nutritional plans and meal plans and recipes. So, please feel.
Yeah, that's important, definitely. Yeah. And that's for free, those resources?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all for free. It's just go on there and download. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to just drop me an email. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was a great, gave me a lot of great information, that's for sure. I learned a lot.
No, thank you. It's lovely talking to you about a subject that needs to be spoken about more, really. So it's great. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Yep. Bye-bye.